Yo, what's going on, guys? So today I just wanted to make a video on why, everyone says money doesn't matter. Money doesn't mean anything. Money's garbage until it actually does. Until it really does matter because, we can go on our lives and we could say, it doesn't matter. Money is something that comes and goes. Who cares? Enjoy your 20s, enjoy your 30s, live life to the fullest, which I believe you should. But you should always be trying to tackle that financial situation first because not all of us come from riches. We don't all come from wealth. We don't come from the gold silver spoons and stuff like that. So a lot of people we're hearing about that's telling us this, those are the people that are already rich. Those are the people that already came from wealth, who already came from success. Their parents and their grandparents and their great grandfathers and whoever set them, set aside something for them. They brought them houses, mansions, a certain amount of money that was left over, so they can continue to live a great life. But some of us, we didn't come from that. We're either first generation or second generation immigrants, first generation immigrants, or we just come from a worse financial background. Like we didn't come from where we had wealth, and it's just not a thing. So for someone to say money doesn't matter, well, it does, because we need to pay our rent. We need to pay for groceries that's continuing to rise every year. We need to pay for gas that's continuing to rise every year. Like there's a war going on, the gas is going to rise. We need to have money and finances to be able to pay for that, to allow us to get to work, right? And then on top of that, we want to also be able to enjoy our lives, go on vacation, hang out with friends, and that costs money. Like, do you know how much it costs to even go outside and hang out with your friends? You're spending a minimum of $50. Every time you go out and hang out with some friends, you got to pay for transportation. You got to pay for food, right? You got to pay for, if you want a coffee or something. If you want to pay for transportation to come back home, or if you invite them over, well, you're gonna still have to pay for things. You got to pay for food, all these different things. You guys want to go out watch a movie, you have to pay for these things. So finances do matter. So for people to say money doesn't matter, well, it does matter, because you can live like that, for the next 20 years. Maybe you live with your parents, maybe you live with roommates. Your mindset is money doesn't matter. Let's just live life until it does matter. Now it's time to start a family and you don't have anything saved up. Until now it's time to pay for an emergency, and health wise, you need to have money for a surgery or something, and you don't have it. And then, or maybe it's time to pay your kids' college tuition and they got to take out loans. And now you're giving them debt because you didn't have the money saved up. So money does matter. And that's why it's so important to tackle it and get rid of that problem as early as possible. There's some people that are like 15, 16, 17 that are already working and saving and investing so they can get rid of their financial problems by the time they're 28, 29, or 30. And then they only work part-time, or maybe they work full-time at whatever they like to do, and they can actually choose a career that they love to do, instead of choosing something out of scarcity that I have to do this because I have no other option. And now they hate their job, and the finances are just building up. They're piling up and piling up, because as you get older, you're going to want to do more things. When you were 17 and 18, you didn't really care about getting a car. But now when you're 27, 28, or 34, 35, you need a car, because you have to get to work. You have to pick up your kids. You have to, you want to go to, maybe play basketball or soccer, in an adult league, or, maybe you want to go and travel, 3 hours out of your city on the weekend. You need a car, when you get to that age. But 17, 18, you didn't need one. And that was the best time to really work and grind and tackle that financial situation. Sacrifice for 4 or 5 years, invest as much money as you possibly can, or at least work on a business or some sort of idea where, you can get that knocked out of the park. You can get the financial situation knocked out of the park. So it's so important to focus on your finances. Even right now, if you can figure out a way how you can just dedicate 1 to 2 years on at least not just saving money, but figuring out a way how you can increase your income, because increasing your income is always better than just saving money, because you're going to have to cut your lifestyle all the way down if you save money. And if you increase your income, you can kind of still enjoy a little bit of a lifestyle while you're increasing that income. And your life just gets better and better each year because you have more and more income. So if you can figure out for in 2 years, what can you do that will increase your income? Can you, get more promotions at work? Can you start a side hustle where you can just work at it, an extra 2, 3 hours after you're done work? Maybe you can get a second job, an easy job, right? You don't have to get a second job where it's just physical labor. There's a lot of different jobs. You can just maybe drive the Uber, pick a couple people up, or you can be a personal grocer where you're shopping at grocery stores and you're just doing your own thing. You can either, maybe in the winter time, hire a team of, younger people who can maybe shovel different snow banks for you, and then you can be the manager where you have the houses and you have the contracts, and maybe you just take 20% and you give them 80%, but you have to understand they're doing all the physical work, so you're just a manager. But is there ways and side hustles you can make more money easier? Maybe you could resell clothing, resell watches, garage sales, these different things you could do to increase your income month after month after month, where you can still enjoy a good lifestyle. So try your best at these things, try your best to focus on your finances as young as possible, get it tackled out of the way. And then after that, then you can get into the whole money doesn't matter thing. But money does matter. Money doesn't matter until it does matter. If you guys like this video, subscribe, like, comment. I'll see you guys next time.